Hey guys, so we just got even more Datamined talent tree speculation. I've already taken a look through myself, and Blizzard has given us a few more goodies, so let's go through and take a look together. Alright, so first things first, it looks like we're keeping Harmonic Echo. That's pretty good, it gives us some free passive cleave, though one thing to note is that here it's marked as a 20% damage buff, when on live it's a 25% damage buff. So a bit of a nerf, but not that big a deal. Next up, we've got Temporal Velocity, which in our last video increased your movement speed by 30% when returning from Alter Time. This looks like it's now changed to be 10% after using Blink and 20% after using Alter Time, which is pretty cool, seems a bit more interactive, and also gives us a nice boost to mobility. Tome of Antonitis is now granting us Haste instead of Mastery, and looks like we also have the option for Tome of Medivh, which can increase our crit by 2%. Okay, moving on to the Arcane tree. Looks like Arcane Bombardment and Arcane Harmony are both making a return. Now, for Arcane Bombardment, this is currently a legendary that isn't really used at all with the Kyrian playstyle, but I do believe the other covenants could make use of it in a Mythic Plus scenario. Specifically, Night Fae could have some really insane execute damage on packs by using Arcane Orb, barraging, then using Shifting Power to reset Arcane Orb's cooldown, and then popping Orb and Barrage again. Now, based on the data mine from last week, we can potentially see Shifting Power making a return for Dragonflight, so there is a universe in which an Arcane Bombardment build could be a thing. The only question is, do we have to choose between these two, and how much single target damage do we lose by taking Bombardment over a standard Radiant Spark plus Arcane Harmony build? Also, this version of Bombardment only gives us a 50% damage buff, compared to a 130% damage buff on live, so it's heavily nerfed as well. As for Arcane Harmony, really happy to see this coming back. This is pretty much the backbone for Kyrian Arcane, just like Radiant Spark is, and they both do synergize very well together. One big thing to note here, though, is that each missile is increasing the damage of our next barrage by 5% per stack, compared to 8% on live, and going up to 20 stacks, compared to 18 on live. This actually comes out to a pretty sizable nerf. In both cases where Arcane Harmony is fully stacked, we go from a 144% damage buff to a 100% buff. What this could mean is that we might have the option to take both Bombardment and Harmony together, which would put Barrage at 150% increased damage during execute phase on a full Harmony stacked Barrage. Ultimately though, everything just comes down to tuning, playstyle, and how the trees are organized, so it's way too early to make sense of what Blizzard's trying to achieve, but the fact that both of these are getting nerfed means we might be able to take them at the same time. Next up, we have Charged Orb. Arcane Orb gains 1 additional charge. This is a pretty cool passive, definitely synergizes well with Arcane Bombardment and even Shifting Power if we decide to fully embrace that AoE barrage execute damage. Seems like it could be fun. Cascading Power. Consuming a mana gem increases spell power by 5% for 12 seconds. That's definitely a cool change to see. Right now it's pretty much just use mana gem whenever it won't cause you to overcap, and even then, there's not really a huge need to even use it since mana isn't really an issue, but with this passive, mana gem will probably be a part of our burn rotation. Concentration. Arcane Blast has a chance to grant expanded potential, which causes your next clear casting to not be consumed. This is very interesting. Currently, expanded potential is a legendary you can take right now on retail. Bit of a side note, I've actually messed with it while testing some Venthyr builds, and you can turn Venthyr Arcane into a 1-minute Arcane Power build with Arcane Prodigy, and having the Venthyr Lego reduce the cooldown of Mirrors of Torment as well. So if you guys want to try that out, it is a pretty fun build to use, and this talent could be interesting moving into Dragonflight. Okay, so next up, Arcane Charges further increase mastery effectiveness of Arcane Blast and Barrage by 10%. This is nice to see, those are core spells for Arcane, so I think we'll pretty much always try to pick up this talent whenever we can. And lastly, we have Siphon Storm, but it doesn't look like anything was changed with it specifically from last time. One thing I can note though is that Evocation has actually been reduced to a 2-minute cooldown from 3 minutes on live, and with the 60-second cooldown reduction at rank 2 that we saw in the last data mine, Evocation will actually be a 1-minute cooldown at its max rank. This puts it at a lower cooldown than Arcane Surge, which means the option is there for us to blow Arcane Surge at maximum mana every time if we wanted to. And that's pretty much it for today's changes. Overall, I like the direction Blizzard's moving in. We see the Kyrian playstyle getting more fleshed out with the reintroduction of Arcane Harmony, and potentially being able to double dip on even more effects like Siphon Storm or Expanded Potential, or even Arcane Bombardment. There's also a new potential for Mythic Plus AoE build in Arcane Bombardment, though depending on how the talent tree is structured, it could also just be some free execute damage. Anyways, guys, let me know down in the comments what you thought of today's data mine. It seems like we're getting very close here to a potential talent tree release for Mage pretty soon, so if you want to stay up to date on the latest Arcane Mage changes, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I make a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.